Hello all, myself Dr. Shanti Verma. In today's tutorial I am going to discuss working with file in Python programming language. Let's first discuss the learning objective of this session. At the end of this session you are able to understand the need of file. You are able to explain different types of files in Python file handling system, and looking at the code to understand theory by some practical approach. Let's first discuss what is file. A file is an object on a computer that stores data, information, some settings or commands used by a computer program. There are various advantages of file. Well, if you are using file, you can store your data permanently. Updation in data becomes very easy. You can share your data among various persons or various programs, and huge amount of data you can store with the help of file. Now let's discuss types of files. In Windows, there are different types of file like image file, text file, executable files and audio file. In Python, there are two types of file, binary file or text file. Binary file stores data in the form of 1 and 0, while text stores data in the form of the characters or words. So, in Python, file is slightly different rather than Windows. Now let's discuss a file handling. File handling is a very important part of for any application development. There are various types of operations that we can perform in file like creation, reading, updating and deletion. Now let's discuss the file handling system of Python. In the Python file handling system, you have to first create a file, then you have to open a file. Next, you can work in a file, means you can read, write, update the file, and the last step is the close of file. It should be noted that closing of file is important. For open a file in Python, you can use a open function. Basically, open function have the two parameters. First is the file name and second is the mode. Okay, let's discuss these. Basically, there are various types of modes for opening a file. Either you can use a read mode or append mode or write mode or create mode. Basically, read mode is a default, and in read mode you can open a file for reading. It shows an error if the file does not exist. Append mode opens a file for appending, and it also gives an error if file not exist. Write opens a file for write. Similarly, X creates a specific file and returns an error if the file exists. In addition, you can specify if the file should be handled as a binary file or a text file. So you can pass T for text mode and you can pass B for binary mode. By default, the file in file opening, the mode is a text mode. The syntax for opening a file is you have to use a open function, and in open function you can pass first the file name and second the mode. Next, how to read a file. To read a file, basically the read function is used. This is a file pointer dot read function is used. Lots of ways to read a text file in Python. Either you can read all characters or you can read some characters. So, if you want to read all the characters of a file, you can write open a first. You have to open a file, and after open a file in a read mode, you can use print file dot read. This read function read all the contents of a file in a one attempt. But if you want to read only 5 characters of a file, you can pass this 5 as a argument in a read function. This 5 indicates that you want to read only 5 characters from a given file. So this is your choice. If you want to read all characters, you use read, and if you want to read some characters, you can pass the number of characters in a read function. Now there are more methods available for reading a file, like read line and read lines. Basically, the read line reads a file line by line, while the read lines read a whole line separately. So, in this example, you can see that if I open a file and print file dot read line, it basically read line by line output. Now if I want to read only third line, so I can pass this 3 as a read line parameter. If I pass this 3 in a read line, it read only the third line of a file. Similarly, we can also use the read lines. Read lines separately and stores the whole line as item of a list. So read lines read the data and store in a list, while read lines read a line in a one attempt but not stored in a list. So how we can perform fast and efficient reading? For performing a fast and efficient reading, we can use a loop, and we can looping over the object. For that, you have to write file. First, you have to open a file, and after open a file, you have to make a loop that move over the object. So you have to write for line in file, and then within the loop you have to print that file dot read line. This is very fast and efficient method for reading a file. Now how to write a file? To write a file, the write function is used. To write in any existing file, you can add a parameter to the open function. That is append mode. In append mode, you will append to the end of the file. While if you are using a W or a write mode, your existing contents will overwrite from the file. In the example, you can see that if I open a file demo file.txt in a append mode, and I write we love edureka in a file, then this sentence is written right in a file at the end. But if I use a W mode, then the whole content of the demo file.txt is override by the sentence we love edureka. So you have to carefully use the W. If you are using a W, the existing content of the file will overwrite. Now if you want to add more contents in file, then you have to first open a file in a write mode. Then if you want to write this is text, and again to add more files, then if the file is open in a write mode, then the new content on the file is to add more lines, and in this way you can write any sentences in file. At last you have to close the file. Now let's discuss how to create a file. For creating a file, again the open method is used. But to create a new file, you have to use a mode as X. X will create a file, and it also returns an error if the file not exist. Similarly, if you are using a append mode, it also create a file if file doesn't exist. W will also create a file if file doesn't exist. So you either for creating a new file you can use X or A or W. Now How to remove a file? To remove a file, you have to require a OS module. In OS module, there is a one function, that is a remove. With the help of this remove function, you can delete your file. For deleting any file, you have to first import the OS module, and in OS module you have to write os.remove and then the file name. If you are executing this command, this file will remove the from the path. For removing the file, you have to first check this file exists or not. So if you want to check file exists or not, you can also use this OF. You can write if os.path.exist, the file name, then os.remove, else print the file doesn't exist. So this is the efficient way. It gives error when the file not exist. In the similar way, we can also delete a folder. To delete a folder, rmdir function of OS module is used. It should be noted that folder should be empty before deleting the folder. So you have to first remove all the contents from the folder. Then you have to write import OS and then os.rmdir and the folder name. This command executor, if you execute, then this folder is deleted from your system. On the basis of this file exercise, I give you a two question as assignment. First is to count, write a program to count number of lines, words and characters in a text file. Second is to write a program to copy an image from one file to another file. Thank you.